Nobody is going to go and drive a truck downtown Oklahoma City and blow up a bomb. It just doesn't happen.
Move back.
To see, firefighters who do this for a living, who train for all these scenarios, and that's their first reaction. The jaw drops a little bit and the eyes widen, and it's just, oh my God, how did this happen?
In this area alone, probably 75 have been treated, and this is just on one corner block, and this isn't the target of the main explosion. So there was hundreds of people in there.
On April 19, 1995, an explosion in downtown Oklahoma City killed 168 people and injured hundreds more. That Wednesday morning became a day the city and the entire country would never forget.
We have a meeting at 9 o'clock in the morning. The bombing happened at 9:02. But I recall there were several of us in the meeting room. It shook the building. I mean, it felt like there was an impact on our building. We're about 8 miles as the crow flies from downtown Oklahoma City. The last thing your mind goes to is it could be something that far away. I tell people that's the fastest trip I ever made from the station to downtown.
Chris Lee, a 43-year veteran photojournalist with KOCO Action 5 News, was one of the first on the scene.
The front of the building was just gone. And it was so difficult to get your mind around all of the damage and everything that had happened down there. We'd see smoke rising from downtown. And I recall it was kind of a yellowish color, very strange color for smoke. Learned afterwards that that's very typical from that type of explosion.
That explosion, investigators would later say, came from a bomb created with homemade materials like diesel fuel. It was the equivalent of 5,000 pounds of TNT, and it had just been detonated in front of the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building.
Oh, it was just sudden, and it was very severe. The glass came flying in the building. We were sitting at a table probably about 4 feet away from the window, knocked us all out of our chairs.
Boy, it's just like an atomic bomb went off. The ceiling went in and all the windows came in, and that deafening roar, and then there's just dust and everything.
I've covered tornadoes, I've covered floods, but first of all, there was glass everywhere. And everything you look at has been broken in some way.
I've seen a lot of damage from tornadoes and fires and other disasters, but this is beyond the realm of comparability, I guess you'd say.
Of the 168 people killed, 19 were children. More than 680 people were injured, some losing limbs. The blast, which originated from a rental truck, radiated for 16 blocks. More than 300 other buildings in the area were damaged or destroyed.
We interviewed people who were injured. That sticks with me. I know there was a daycare in the building, so parents are streaming in, trying to find their kids.
My baby. Daycare.
I came out and looked, and I saw all of this black smoke and everything, and I ran up here, and then I saw all of the injured children.
When we carried these kids out, we held them like they were our own.
It was chaotic enough that they were taking people to hospitals in the back of pickup trucks. So there was several hours in there before anybody knew who had been taken to what hospital.
Chris and the rest of the KOCO news team stayed at the scene for nearly 24 hours, documenting the event in a time before citizen journalism, cell phones, and social media.
Go ahead.
Okay, we want you guys to stay alive and ready to go live with Jack all morning long. That's all you need to worry about. No tapes, no packages, live with Jack all morning long, okay? Be standing by.
You realize how important what we do is, that this is something that people need to know what's going on, and you're the ones telling them. You're the ones that are out there on the front line telling them what they need to know.
As chaos was unfolding downtown, just outside the city, a 27-year-old named Timothy McVeigh was pulled over for driving a vehicle without a license plate. During the stop, the trooper noticed McVeigh had a weapon on him.
The state trooper stopped him for no tag on his vehicle at approximately 10:20 a.m. on Wednesday of this week. After he was stopped, Trooper Hanger noticed that a pistol was showing from the shoulder holster of McVeigh. He then placed him under arrest. He was incarcerated in the Noble County Jail on charges of transporting a loaded firearm, carrying a concealed weapon, and no tag on his vehicle.
He went to jail because he had a gun without a permit, but they had no idea who he was. And he was in the Noble County Jail and somehow the FBI figured out that that was him.
Investigators matched the vehicle identification number on the axle of the truck used in the bombing to a specific truck rental company in Kansas. Among other evidence, the owner of the rental company was able to describe McVeigh to a sketch artist.
We're doing all our stories about the bombing, and all of a sudden now we have the suspect. I've seen a lot of police sketches. I've never seen one that was that spot on. From where the truck was rented, they were able to pretty quickly piece together, what he'd done, how he'd done it, and who his accomplices were. So that was interesting to see all that. And of course, a lot of that didn't really come out until the trial years later.
A little over 2 years later, the trial of Timothy McVeigh and his accused accomplice, Terry Nichols, began in Denver, Colorado. A federal judge determined a fair trial would not be possible in Oklahoma.
We had 2 crews in Denver for both trials the entire time. And I spent collectively around 6 months at the courthouse in Denver. I'm not sure I ever went inside the building because cameras aren't allowed in the building. We had what they called the bullpen out front, and we did live shots of, we'd shoot people walking in and walking out, and if they would stop and talk to us, we talked to them.
We had been through the pits and the gates of hell together, and we were literally now living and holding each other. All of the people and all of the pain and all of the trauma that he caused is all right there inside this person that I'm looking at.
On June 2nd, 1997, McVeigh was found guilty on 11 counts of murder and conspiracy and was sentenced to death. Prosecutors said McVeigh, a former soldier in the U.S. Army, was motivated by a hatred of the government, citing the Waco and Ruby Ridge incidents as reasons he wanted to attack the federal building. His accomplice, 40-year-old Terry Nichols, was tried twice and given life in prison without the possibility of parole. Nichols was found to have helped McVeigh plan and carry out the attack. Michael and Lori Fortier were also considered accomplices because they knew about the plot and even helped plan it. Michael testified against McVeigh and Nichols in exchange for Lori's immunity. He was sentenced to 12 years in prison but was released on good behavior after serving 10.
The spirit of this city and this nation will not be defeated. The wounds of this tragedy are deep. But the courage and the faith and determination of the people of Oklahoma City are even deeper.
I debate the word closure. I guess you kind of close the chapter a little bit. It's the last thing you're going to do on that particular part of it, but it's certainly not anything you get over. It's certainly not anything that you want to forget. You want to remember it in a way of trying to make sure it doesn't happen again. I don't recall happiness or anything in the verdict, just maybe a little bit of moving on to the next phase.
Tragedy does not produce goodness, but sometimes tragedy can reveal what is already there. Goodness has been revealed in remarkable depth and dimension. We continue to share the ache and loss that literally hundreds of our city families and their extended families and their broad circle of friends have been experiencing.
In Oklahoma City, it will always be something that is part of our history. There's a saying now of the Oklahoma standard. Other places want to do it the way we did it in Oklahoma, that when things happen, you gather together and band together. It's a terrible thing to be known for nationwide or worldwide, but at least to be known for when something bad like this happens, that people gather together and do what they can to fix it. There are more good people than there are bad people.
That day, on April the 19th of 1995 at 9:02 a.m., there was angels made that day. And some of them were tiny babies.
April 19th, 2020 marks the 25th anniversary of the tragedy, but it won't be commemorated as usual. With concern over the spread of COVID-19, the Oklahoma City National Memorial and Museum announced that the normally public ceremony will be replaced with a special televised program. It will include the traditional 168 seconds of silence and reading of the 168 names of those who were killed.
We'll have it once we can all get back to normal, because I think it is important to take the time to remember. And again, I think maybe this makes it a little more special or real that we're having to deal with another crisis in the middle of remembering the things that we had to do back then.
We'll be posting more about the 25th anniversary in the comments below. I'm Alexandra Stone, and from all of us here at Dispatches from the Middle, thanks for watching.
This has been your weekly dispatch. Subscribe down below and like this video for more.